This week is the sort of astrology that you want to move into with your eyes like this. Good morning all, my name is Comet and welcome to Just the Magic Monday, your astrology forecast for the week of December 12th to December 18th. What is happening astrologically, but what I'm more interested in covering is how you can lean into and co-create with this energy. What cosmic opportunities you should seize in the week ahead, and what challenges you should mitigate as we navigate this week's celestial sky. And my love, I'm here every single week, rain or shine, great astrology or bad astrology, here on your youtube.com screen. We are still experimenting if we prefer a Sunday upload or a Monday upload. Thank you so much to everybody who weighed in last week. I honestly, at this present moment in time, couldn't tell you what day this is getting up this week. Depends on how Editing Haley is doing. Editing Haley, are we getting this up on Sunday? Does it look like it? Hey guys, Editing Haley here. So it feels that it is the consensus moving forward that it serves people better to have these posted on Sunday. So that will be my intention moving forward. This week will be posted late, but guys, it's because on the Gemini full moon, I dumped an entire cup of tea on my computer, which set back Magic Monday and honestly set back my entire life. Right now I'm working on my laptop from college. So it's a 2012 laptop with Coachella stickers on it. So that's where I'm at. So apologies that it's a little delayed, but know that moving forward, it's my intention to start getting these up on Sunday. So cheers. Oh, and even though it looks like I'm not learning from my mistakes, I now have a separate beverage table set up next to my computer, not on the same table as my computer. I'm learning. Okay, great. So might be Sunday, might be Monday. I guarantee you one of those days that will be on your screen to guide you into this week. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this week because like I said, this is the sort of astrology that we want to move into with our eyes like this. Glued in, okay? Glued in. And I'm not saying that because it's this crazy week. It's honestly pretty innocuous, right? We have some Mercury aspects. We have Sun squaring Neptune. It's pretty calm. Or so you think. Or so you think, because at this present moment in time, there are glimmers and there are hints and there are previews to a story that we will be playing out until really January, but even further. There is more going on than would appear. And if you blink, you could miss it. Because on Monday the 12th, Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow, which means it will traverse back through these degrees again. So that means this week's astrology, essentially Mercury is on its Mercury pre-retrograde shadow tour. So it's talking to all the planets that it will again talk to during its Mercury retrograde. So Mercury, the planet of communication messages, it beefs with Chiron. It says what's up to Uranus. It says what's up to North Node. There is this energy where Mercury is having all of these conversations that will eventually be reviewed as part of the Mercury retrograde story. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that you are starting to tune into the themes that will be essential for your upcoming Mercury retrograde story. Conversations, ideas, messages, events that happen this week can have deeper layer of depth. It can be a preview, a glimmer, a hint around what are the themes that you will be working with really moving into January. But if you blink, you could miss it, which is why it's so important this week to stay mindful around what is going on within your world. It can be sort of a preview around, okay, if Mercury is saying what's up to all of these planets, and we know that it's going to repeat these conversations, how will the story that's beginning now continue to iterate? So there can be an energy where it's like on a surface level, you're like, oh yeah, we did have that conversation about moving. Oh yeah, my package did get lost. And you could just kind of take that and be like, whatever. But then you can tune in as your Mercury retrograde continues. Oh wow, we are revisiting that conversation about moving. Or, oh wow, now I'm finding out that my address redirect actually isn't working and all of my packages are getting sent to my old address. Like, if we blink, we could miss it. So I want you to stay observant and mindful around conversations that are had this week, messages that you receive, ideas that you have. It might seem innocuous and calm to the surface, but I promise you, there's deeper layers to it. There's deeper nuance. There's a story that's playing out. Like right now, we're kind of reading the book jacket of our upcoming Mercury retrograde story, right? We're getting sort of a synopsis, right? We're starting to see, oh, these are going to be the main players, and oh, these are going to be the themes, or oh, these are going to be the areas of my life that I'm reworking, rebuilding, and recalibrating with the energy in Capricorn. Oh, got it. So what I don't want you to do, and what you might be tempted to do, is to kind of just check out. Because smack dab in the middle of the week, we have Sun square Neptune, which is this energy around this confusing smokescreen that's being cast over the week. That's sort of just making us want to check out. And obviously, this is kind of a time of year that a lot of people check out. It's like, let's just coast through the holidays, then we'll hit it hard come January. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, if you're healing, if you're recovering, if you're just processing, if you're spending time with loved ones, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I don't want you to do with this Sun square Neptune is to just kind of gloss over things. You'd be like, huh, yeah, that's interesting that my neighbor told me that, whatever. Just another day in life. Or like, huh, that's interesting that I noticed that there was that one error in the spreadsheet. Whatever, I'm sure the rest is fine. Like, I want you to start to observe what is happening now, okay? Because your story is playing out. So staying open, staying mindful with the Sun square Neptune. We could definitely feel the temptation to just drink a bottle of wine and escape into our own world and just completely numb out and check out. And hey, don't get me wrong, I love some Neptune. Checking out has a time and a place. But what I do want you to do this week is making sure you're spending lots of time being a little bit mindful around what's coming to the surface, being observant of how these themes are coming to the surface, and really just navigating your life with mindfulness and with magic. So we'll give that some more nuance and depth with our thematic as well as day by day astrological analysis. Do let me know what you're sipping on to start this week. I have no comment about my beverage of choice this week. If you watch Magic Monday, you know that I swore these off a while ago, but you know what? It is just a torrid love affair. And that Gemini full moon took me out. That was hectic. That was overwhelming. My goodness. Last, we are here. We're in our cosmic corner. We boldly and bravely move forward. Loves, welcome to Vibe Check of the Week, which is essentially when we take a gigantic cosmic cauldron and we throw in all of the ingredients of all of the aspects this week. So we throw in Mercury square Chiron and we throw in Mercury trine North Node. We mix them up, we stir it, and then I essentially give you a soup of what all of those astrological influences, what they feel like, how we can compare it to a real life scenario to begin to tune into how these themes are coming to the surface within our world. So this week's astrological cauldron of what this week's astrology feels like is the filler episode before the season finale of a TV show where every single piece of the set, every single piece of dialogue, every single movie reference, every single art featured has additional layers of depth. Do you watch any shows like that? Like, I'm not talking about a show where it's just like, it's comedy, it's all on the surface. I'm talking those shows where you can go back and you realize like, oh wow, there was so much symbolism here and there, and oh wow, they pointed out that piece of artwork and it turned out to be even more important, or oh wow, that casual piece of dialogue turned out was foreshadowing something huge that happened during the season finale. Because I want you to think a season, a filler episode before the season finale, because on a surface level, this is the sort of week of astrology where you could be like, oh, it's not that crazy. It's not that chaotic. Like, it's not a week's astrology where it's like totally action-packed and so much is going on and it's so stressful. Like, it can feel to a surface level, if you're checked out, if you're not paying attention, it can feel like nothing's driving the plot forward, right? It can feel like nothing significant is happening. But if you pay attention with an observant mind, you can realize, oh, that piece of dialogue was foreshadowing something in my season finale. Or like, oh, that decision that me and my partner made is going to continue to have to be revisited during this Mercury retrograde story. Like, there is a vibe that to a surface level, if you check out with the Sun square Neptune, there's a huge desire to just check out, numb out, and just live in a daydream. You can be like, it's kind of a boring week. It's kind of a boring life. But if you look deeper, there's themes, there's hints of what's going to be impactful for our season finale, right? Or for this major Mercury retrograde plot device, right? Like, the plot is being advanced, but it's in more micro, nearly unnoticeable ways. But the plot is being fleshed out. And does anybody feel me on having a show like this? I'm really into White Lotus. I promise, no spoilers in this at all, but I'm really into White Lotus, which is this sort of show where there's lots of like symbolism and you can like read in things. You can go on a deep dive into the Reddit communities. People are like, did you notice this? Did you notice this? And this was foreshadowing this. And I'm like, how did you catch that? And then it makes me kind of unlock my inner conspiracy theorist where I'm like, well, he was wearing blue in the first episode, and now she's wearing blue, and they went to that restaurant called the Blue Bayou, so that must mean that they're going to be blue at some point in this series. They're going to be sad. They're going to break up. Like, there can be a tendency to overread into things when we're trying to stay observant about it all. And there is that tendency this week as well, because we do have Sun wearing Neptune. There could be things that throw you off track, right? I think it's called red herring, is when something's kind of thrown in by a director or a writer in order to get you off, in order to kind of throw you off track of where things are going. Or maybe it was unintentional. Maybe the director and writer didn't mean for those characters to wear blue and go to the Blue Bayou. And you're kind of reading into things. Like, I want you to stay open, stay mindful, stay attuned to, hey, what symbolism is coming to the surface within my world? Or hey, what if that piece of dialogue continues to flesh out? So stay open, but allow yourself to relax and enjoy the show, truly. So my loves, we're going to take it day by day. Please know that anytime that I mention a time, it is PST or GMT -8. So please adjust to your time zone for wherever you are located within the world. There are timestamps below if you want to jump to a particular day or come back to a particular day. And without further ado, let's take it into the astrology for Monday, December 12th. So my loves, the astrology of Monday, December 12th, the Sun in Sagittarius sextiles Saturn in Aquarius. And this is the energy around following your arrow and more specifically, setting your sights with your arrow, right? Because obviously, we're in Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is the archer, and the archer is on this journey to get closer to a personal sense of meaning. And Sagittarius is idealistic. It is optimistic about the future and what it can entail. What it can lack at times is the logistics and the groundedness to support the grand vision that they have. But in this aspect, it's being supported by Saturn in Aquarius. Now, I do want to let you know, sextile is a more soft flow of energy. It's an opportunity aspect, so it's not a given. But I do want to say Monday is a really great day to set your intentions on what it is that you want to accomplish in the week ahead. And beyond that, how it is it that you want to feel. Like being able to focus on the vision of it all, that's Sagittarius around. These are the 3 big picture things that are the most important for me to accomplish within my business. Or these are the 3 big picture things that are the most important for me to decorate my home. Like with the energy in Sagittarius, it's attuned to the big picture, and with the sextile to Saturn in Aquarius, it's being like, okay, here are the steps that are needed in order to get there. And so the beginning of this week is really powerful to set your intentions, particularly intentions around those big picture, deeply important, but not urgent tasks that you consistently push off. Okay, like I want you to think, if you run your own business, I want you to think of those big picture things that you're like, oh, that would be so important. Like that would really, really move the needle forward. But you get so caught up within the day to day of just trying to keep everything afloat that you forget to bucket time for those really big picture tasks. Or within your personal life, so busy with work and keeping up with everything that you forget around. It is so important to me that I spend time with, my friends this week. It's so important to me that me and my family do this holiday tradition. It's so important to me that I redecorate my home, or I go through my closet to donate belongings, or that I volunteer for that organization. Those big picture priorities of what gives your sense of your life a sense of meaning, your business a sense of growth, your life an experience of depth. But those things that we consistently kind of push off around, one day when I have time. This week, I want you to create the time. I want you to decide the 3 most important things that you want to do, the 3 most dominant emotions that you want to feel, and I want you to set your arrow upon that target and move into this week with that optimism of the Sun in Sagittarius and that groundedness of Saturn in Aquarius. Plot those 3 things, remember how important they are to you, and soar into the week ahead. So on the 12th, the moon is in Leo all day, and I really want you to just treat yourself like the main character. Like, honestly, like the energy of Leo is generous, it's heart-centered, it has a flair for the dramatic, certainly. The energy I'm feeling into is like, it's my time. Like, these important tasks and these initiatives that are important to me, they're not going to come to me handed on a silver platter. Life circumstances are never going to line up exactly where I have 3 hours where I'm like, there is no other obligations that I have besides cleaning this closet. It's like, it has to be important to you. It has to be important to your big picture enough that you are prioritizing it. And you need to realize that you are worthy. You are worthy of devoting time to those big picture tasks for your business. You are worthy of spending time with the people that give you a sense of meaning. You are worthy of devoting to the causes that give you a sense of meaning. Like, these are the most critical components of our life, but it's so often the elements of our life that we overlook. So I just want you to anchor on Monday to be a little selfish when it comes to whether it's like your time after work, or even what you bucket time to work on at work, what you bucket time to work on within your home. Like, I want your to-do list and I want your week's goals to be representative of your passions, of what's the most important to you. Like, obviously in life, we have to do the obligations and the maintenance. Trust me, my love, soon the moon will enter Virgo. There will be a time for that. But I want you to be a little selfish around this. Is important to me. I need to do things for myself outside of just for other people. Like, keep in mind, this week's vibe check, it's all about an episode in a TV show. You have your own plot you need to drive forward. You cannot be the supporting character to everybody out here. And there's also kind of this emphasis upon healing this week. We'll continue to kind of bulk in that intention as we get to Mercury square Chiron, but there can be a hint on Monday around leaning in with confidence and kind of healing where it is that you have not felt worthy, where it is that you always feel like your time is better spent on helping other people's businesses rather than your own, or helping your coworkers with their tasks rather than prioritizing your own. It's like an energy around reclaiming and taking your power back, especially with the Leo moon sextiling Mars and Gemini. And so I would love to know, are you guys morning worker outers, lunch break worker outers, afternoon, evening worker outers? When do you like to exercise? When do you like to move your body? All I'm saying, my afternoon, evening worker outers, we have a really great exercise aspect. Leo moon sextile Mars in Gemini at 5:08 p.m. PST. Really aligned to move your body and charge your life force up, okay? Like, this is the sort of vibe of a sassy workout. Again, maybe not everybody will feel me on this, but I'm talking the sort of workout when you're wearing your cute little exercise set, the matching scrunchie, you go to exercise class and they're playing all of your songs and you are just feeling yourself. You're like, damn, I look good in this scrunchie. I'm killing this workout class. Like, whether you do it solo, playing your own music, maybe it's just like even a dance party, I want you to move your body and feel confident and center yourself as the main character of this week. Like, start your week with intention. Start your week with being able to center yourself around, I've got to advance my plot line. I've got to drive what's important to me forward, right? Especially since there's also this lens to this week, because this is the day that Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow. So not only should we use this week's astrology, like observing the themes that come out, so attuning when we're watching the episode, like around, okay, that detail could be important, that conversation could be important, but unlike TV shows, we have the opportunity to co-create with it. So not only observing and being reactive to the themes that are coming up, but also setting the intention of what we want our Mercury retrograde story to be. Because here's the thing about Mercury retrograde. A lot of people think, you know, things hit the fan, it gets nuts, which isn't a lie. There's truth and validity to that. I personally love Mercury retrogrades because it is a time that you can catch your breath, you can revise past projects, you can dial in details, you could observe the cracks of the foundation. With Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, that's going to be a huge focal point. It's a time to catch our breath, to review, recalibrate, reset, right? And we can lean into that. So let's say if there's a project where you're like, I've been prioritizing everybody else's projects. I never make time for my own art, my own creativity. Put some energy towards it this week. Because we are in this preview energy, you are putting that energy into your Mercury retrograde. So set it with intention. Set this period with intention around, I want to finish that novel that I keep putting off. I want to finally tackle that closet renovation project that I've been wanting to do. I need to finally have that conversation with my loved one on these important themes. Like, setting that tone and knowing that we will work with this energy during the Mercury retrograde. So I want you to both observe while also co-create. Like, understand, yes, there are certain dynamics and themes that are coming to the surface that you are watching and observing like a TV show. But unlike a TV show, in this week's astrology, you are the main character. You get to drive your plot line forward. You get to decide what the season finale will entail, right? So start your week with agency, start your week with vision, start your week attuning to the big picture, and start your week charging up your life force, whether that is working out or doing anything that makes you feel confident and strong and powerful. That is my recommendation. I do want to let you know, with the Leo moon square Uranus, honest, things can be a little up and down. There could be unusual weather, unusual technological issues that occurs at 7:47 p.m. You could also feel very restless. So Tuesday the 13th, the Leo moon opposes Saturn in Aquarius at 6 a.m., which is this vibe around meh, blah, feeling weighted by responsibilities, feeling annoyed with life by what it is that you want to do, because it just feels like on Tuesday, in a perfect world, you would just play and just adventure. I know it's not a perfect world, but with the Leo moon opposing Saturn, there's a vibe around I don't wanna, there's so much to do. And with the trine of the Sagittarius sun, it's this vibe around I just want to adventure and explore. And then after the Leo moon trine Sagittarius sun, at 7:52 a.m., the moon is void, my loves, until Wednesday. And if you're new here, when the moon is void, important tasks we must avoid. Now, am I saying to stay in bed all day? No, not necessarily, but what I am saying is try not to plan the most important meeting of your life, right? I would stick to more mundane, practical matters, and also don't judge yourself if you're feeling a lack of motivation, if you're feeling blah, if it's hard to focus, right? The closing aspect is the Leo moon trine Sagittarius sun, so it is really helpful in being able to find the humor and the fun within life. It might be kind of hard to focus because of that, but there might be a desire to want to adventure, to want to connect. This is the waning gibbous moon, which is all about socializing, distilling of messages. But on Tuesday, expect to feel a little blah, and I wouldn't bucket any truly pivotal, important tasks. And also just be gentle with yourself if you're feeling a little bit bleh or tired. Even main characters need a little break sometimes. Like, this is very much the vibe if you've ever worked in a corporate environment. Like, this is kind of a time of the year where a lot of people are mailing it in, right? They're not like fully showing up or going hard. Just like, okay, let's just get to the new year and then we'll get back to the work. So it's just a vibe around sitting at your desk, just typing emptily into your Word doc so it seems that you're doing something. Like, on Wednesday, the 14th, shortly after midnight, the moon enters Virgo, which is the sign around details and service. So that's why I was saying, like, it's okay if the beginning of the week you prioritize what's important to you, because when the moon enters Virgo, we're more likely to want to be helpful for other people. We're going to more likely want to tune into those daily tasks, maintenance, cleaning, all of those small details that can sometimes take up our life, which, again, every sign and every energy has its place within the cosmos. Like, we can't just have all of the big picture without any of the details to support it. I just highlight that for the individuals who have been so caught within the day-to-day around trying to make everybody else happy and do what's needed for everybody else, that they're not prioritizing what's important for me, what's important to my big picture. So with the Virgo moon, there can be more of an inclination around chores, errands, cleaning, the little components of daily living. And if possible, on Wednesday, I want you to avoid overwhelm, okay? Like I said, with these Neptune energies, there's this vibe where we don't all know yet. We kind of have to let the water settle before we can see to the bottom, right? Because if you go up to a body of water and you go like this on the surface, you can't see to the bottom. You don't have clarity, right? And the Virgo moon wants to know and understand and analyze. And with the Neptune aspects, we don't know. We don't know what the season finale will entail. We don't know exactly how these themes will play out. We're getting hints, we're getting clues that I want you to be mindful of, but we don't exactly know. And Virgo moon doesn't like not exactly knowing. Like, with this energy of Neptune, a lot of people experience Neptune as anxiety, because Neptune can bring this energy of confusion, of murkiness. And the energy of Neptune is about dissolving. And people who have a plan, type A's, they don't like having their plans dissolved, right? And while this week is sort of asking us to stay observant, as I've highlighted, as we are in the pre-retrograde shadow, with the squarest Neptune, be okay with allowing it to unfold, be okay with attuning to the bigger picture, as I shared, and just with the Virgo moon making this mutable T-square with the sun in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces, be observant to this episode in the journey, okay? Like, don't be so wanting to know what happens in the season finale that you forget to be present for this particular episode in your life. It may feel like a filler episode, but I promise there are nuances and there are depths to it that have more significance than it may appear at this moment. With Sun square Neptune, be mindful around analysis paralysis, or feeling so overwhelmed by all that you have to do that you almost feel frozen and unable to do anything at all. Take it step by step. Like, it's going to be hard to stay focused with this mutable T-square. Like, when you have a stressed out Virgo moon, a lot of times they could just be busy, like restless, always in motion, not really doing a lot because they're just kind of fluttering from thing to thing, being like, I have so much to do. It's hard to focus. It's hard to have that clarity when you're thrashing about, right? So on Wednesday, I want you to aim to have a sense of clarity or a sense of mindfulness as you navigate. There will be an energy of perhaps analysis paralysis or having a lot of thoughts or freaking out about the details or the uncertainty, but I want you to just take it one step at a time. And while there is this energy of sort of like panic or analysis paralysis or feeling overwhelmed or feeling anxious about what the future can entail on Wednesday, I want you to be super mindful around the stories that are playing out. Because what we don't often talk about with Virgo is that there is an embedded feeling of shame within Virgo. Like the energy of Virgo is to purify, right? Is to improve. And so Virgos, because they view this world through this lens around trying to make things better, they also extend that towards themselves as well. And their detail-oriented analytical minds can almost just like hyperfixate on all of the components of themselves that are not perfect, right? And it can give them a feeling of shame, right? And so I want you to be mindful of that, especially since if we follow the Virgo moon is answering to Mercury, which is now in Capricorn, which squares off with Chiron. So there could be this energy where any mistakes that are made, you're reading into. It's triggering your wounds. It's triggering your insecurities. Let's give an example. Let's say your partner comes to you and they're like, my love, you are not drying yourself when you get out of the shower, and it's making it so that when I go into the bathroom after you shower and I'm wearing my little fuzzy socks because it's cold, I'm getting my little fuzzy socks wet and I'm not enjoying it. And with this energy, it's almost with the ruler to this moon squaring off with Chiron, it's almost like, oh, I'm such a mess. They're going to leave me. They don't love me. Like almost just hyperfixating because maybe it triggered a wound within you around feeling like I'm a careless person or I'm not good enough or this person is so much cleaner than me and one day they're going to realize that they should be with someone who's just as organized as they are. Like triggering a deeper insecurity is the vibe with Chiron. And so I just want you to be mindful around where it is that you are spiraling or reading into things too much. So with Mercury square Chiron, outside of that, like there just could be certain words that wound this week. Like with Mercury square Chiron, it's this energy where to a surface level, it can be a comment that's made that may not seem like an overt insult, like Mercury's in Capricorn, right? Which is all about logistically what needs to happen for this to be made better. But with the square to Chiron, there's an internalization as well as a triggering of something that it brings within us. So bringing back to the vibe check, let's say within an episode, there's a piece of dialogue of a character who says, oh, well, you would feel that way. And to a surface level, it's like, okay, it's not necessarily an overt insult, but when you understand the character arc and what they're making that comments in reference to, you understand that was a word with a wound, right? Whether it was internalized by the individual who's reading into it and being like, what did they mean by that? Or the person meant to afflict and trigger their insecurities. Just being mindful with Mercury square Chiron that people can be a little bit more sensitive to our language, particularly when it relates to constructive criticism. Virgo energy cracks me up because it's like how it is that they show love is via giving feedback or dialing in, hey, this could be made better in this. And just with the energy in Wednesday, we're just feeling a little bit more sensitive to comments that are made. Being mindful with your own language when doling out feedback, as well as knowing that, you know, you might be a little more sensitive to feedback from supervisors, feedback from your partner, things of that nature. Being mindful not to go down a spiral when there is a piece of feedback, because my love, that can be a focal part of our Mercury retrograde story. And I do want to let you know, I did a video on Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, all signs. You can see what it's bringing to the surface. But I highlight this because with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, there is this vibe around attuning to what's not working and attuning to what's broken. And there's a vibe, particularly with Wednesday's astrology, around over-reading into it and over-idealizing with it. And it's like with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, we sort of have to be a little bit more objective to be like, objectively, you're getting my fuzzy socks wet. It's a problem. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not saying I don't love you. But objectively, I would just like for you to dry more when you get out of the shower so I don't get my fuzzy socks wet. Like we are making things very personal where they are not meant to be personal. We are reading into things where it is that it's just like, this situation just needs to be fixed, right? So just being mindful of that on Wednesday, that we are feeling a little bit more hypersensitive. And also on Wednesday, Mercury trines North Node. So there can be messages received that are impactful for our journey forward. And this is beyond just even the Mercury retrograde. Like North Node is where it is that we are collectively moving towards. So staying open to messages, ideas, insights, illuminations that come to you on Wednesday. I also want to highlight to a moon level, we have the Virgo moon trining Venus in Capricorn midday, 12:32. Excellent for a lunch meeting, excellent for taking someone to coffee, excellent for connecting, particularly with the Virgo moon trine Venus in Capricorn. These are ambitious, plan-oriented oriented energies. So it's great to, connect. There's a warm feeling with moon trine Venus. Would also be great to like take your partner to lunch or something of that nature. But particularly when it comes to ambition, planning things out, maybe ordering something healthy but delicious at lunch. The Virgo moon and Capricorn Venus would appreciate that. But also knowing with that Mercury square Chiron energy that I chatted with you about in Sun square Neptune, we can be a little bit more sensitive to that comment that your partner makes at lunch over salad. So just being mindful of that. And furthermore, beyond even just being mindful of it, observing what it's triggering within you, because that can also be helpful to realize, hey, this person mentioned how I never help with the PowerPoints. That triggered me because I feel like I'm helping in a lot of ways and my contributions aren't being valued. Maybe this will be a theme of my upcoming Mercury retrograde story, because a lot of times what bothers us is hinting at certain insecurities that we have not healed within ourselves, or hinting at certain areas of our life that we feel uncomfortable with. So maybe we go on the offense, or we're hypersensitive about. Maybe it can be revealing some data to you that will be important in this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. The vibe on Thursday, the 15th, is do what you can do the best that you can do, and let go of the rest, okay? You do not need to do everything for everybody. You do not need to be everything for everybody. Show up in the ways that make sense and let go of the rest. Because on one hand, we have very helpful energies. We have very early in the morning, honestly, kind of middle of the night, we have the Virgo moon trining Mercury in Capricorn, which is logical, which is practical around here is the plan, here is the pathway forward, but it feels that we are getting overwhelmed and stuck in doubt and analysis with the Virgo moon squaring off with Mars in Gemini. It's feeling around overwhelm or having so much on your plate that you don't even know where to start, and getting distracted, shiny object syndrome around, well, they're doing this, so maybe I should do this, or they're doing this. It's like, bring the focus back, focus on showing up in the ways that you can do, focus on what it is you can logically do in one day, and release the rest. Try not to get so caught up around what's going to happen in the finale that you forget to just be present in the filler episode. Be present for how you are driving the plot forward. Be present for the work that is happening right now. And also don't judge yourself if you're feeling a lack of motivation, a lack of energy. The Virgo moon clashes with Mars and Gemini early in the morning. So we're very in our heads, and we're so in our heads that we're feeling more drained or exhausted or perhaps overwhelmed. Show up, have a plan with a nice little grand Earth trine, Mercury in Cap, Moon in Virgo, Uranus in Taurus. There is a lot of earthy, helpful energy around new ideas, making our plan and sticking with it, attuning to the details in order to work on what is important to us, but just being mindful that there can be a vibe when you try to do everything at once, you do nothing at all, because then the moon opposes Neptune. So focus on showing up for this step, for this episode. Okay, so sorry guys, it is a different angle. I am a different girl. Honestly and truly, it's been hours since you have last seen me. My battery died, and then I realized I was hungry, and then I was filming some TikToks, and then I was like, a couple hours later, I was like, girl, weren't you doing something? And I was filming this, and I just left you guys hanging on Thursday, but I remembered and I came back. Like when I say, if that is not Mars in Gemini retrograde encapsulated, I don't know what is. My love, when I say during this influence, it is a constant practice to reel in our mind, focus one step at a time. So alas, back to business. And where I believe we left off is Thursday night, and I want to let you know that it is okay not to know. And I know that Virgo moon is going to freak out about that, because the Virgo moon wants to control and predict and plan. And with the opposition to Neptune, it can be expanding our imagination in unsavory ways, right? Imagining the worst case scenario. And while our dreams can be fascinating, our intuition can have valuable insights. Keep in mind, when I say messages are coming to the surface that can be pivotal for a Mercury retrograde story, I don't just mean literal emails, literal texts, literal conversations. Also messages, ideas that come from your soul, right? So honoring that, but also mitigating any anxieties around, I don't know what's going to happen, or what if this happens, like this is rabbit hole energy. This is obsessive energy. This is feeling very anxious for the future and what it can have in store. We don't know what's going to happen on the next episode. All we can do is be present for this one. And so on Friday the 16th is a check-in point from the Gemini full moon. So if it was pivotal for you, raise your hand, because me too, I'm so in that boat with you, my love. Friday can have more themes coming to the surface. And really with it on the last quarter side or the waning side, it is this energy around what needs to be released, what needs to go, what worries and anxieties are hindering us more than they are helping us. Probably a lot of them, and I know it's not that easy, like a light switch, just turning nervousness off. Like, trust me, that's something that I really struggle with as well. But I want you to understand, like I hope that Gemini full moon brought to the surface for you, that not all information is helpful or relevant information. Not all worries or thoughts or plans come to fruition. All you can do is the best that you can do with the information that you have at your disposal, with the decisions that you have at your disposal. So releasing this energy around needing to know and needing to plan and really being open to the journey. I swear, guys, next week is Capricorn season and I will stop talking like Hallmark cards. I swear, Sun and Sagittarius season does something to me. Friday morning, I would say with the Virgo moon trining Pluto, great to get absorbed in a task. Like you might not be able to plan it all. You might not be able to predict the next 5 years. You may not even be able to solve a situation overnight. So it might be helpful to kind of mitigate any nervousness by just losing yourself into a project, just allowing yourself to build some momentum. Even if you can't control it all, you can't figure out what happens on the season finale until the next week that it comes out. The show that I was referencing, it comes out once every week. I believe at the time of uploading this, the season finale will have aired, and I kind of love shows in that format. Like now, you know, we could binge them all or like watch them all in one night, and it's kind of fun, the suspense of having to wait a week and hypothesize and wonder. And you can hypothesize and wonder and stay open and stay curious to the little pieces of the show, the little pieces of dialogue. And you could stay open and curious to the pieces of the show, the pieces of your life, and kind of observing, okay, this seems to be a dominant theme. Maybe this is foreshadowing that this conversation will be important. You could stay open without obsessing, right? And so on Friday, if you are feeling some nervous energy with all of this mutable, just allow yourself to get lost into a project. And then the Virgo moon opposes Jupiter. So a good time to find some celebration within your Friday. It is Friday after all. And then the moon enters Libra at 11:49, drawing our awareness to connection, harmony, balance. You know, Venus days hit different when it's a Venus-ruled moon as well. So great time for a date night or just to expand beauty and pleasure in all of its formats, right? The shift is from the utility and the service-oriented energy of the Virgo moon to this energy of Libra, which wants to enjoy, wants to harmonize, wants to connect. And honestly, I would go on a bougie date night on Friday. Like honestly, bougie, because the Libra moon squares with Venus and Capricorn, and both these energies like the finer things in life. And while a square is a tense aspect, it really just speaks to any sort of tensity around wanting to go with the flow and enjoy the moment as it is, or keep the peace with your beloved, conflicting with the Venus Capricorn desire to want to be the best that the two of you can be, to plan and understand the future. So to me, it just screams being at this nice steakhouse, sipping your wine, and then getting into a conversation about your partner's retirement plan. Kind of a competing desire between, I want to enjoy this moment and indulge all our senses and feel connected, while also let's plan for the future. Let's make sure we're on the same page. Let's have the hard conversation. So kind of a little bit of a clash there, but definitely a great time for a bougie sort of date night. On Saturday, the 17th, Mercury trines Uranus. This is light bulb energy. This is Eureka. I've got it. This is creative solution. And it's taking place in Earth signs, which is very grounded, it's very rooted, it's not untethered ideas, it's problem-solving ideas. And problem-solving ideas occur when you get out of the problem. That's what I was saying with the Virgo moon and Neptune kind of just thrown in the mix of that Virgo-ness, freaking out and making the Virgo moon obsess and worry. It's very hard to find the solution when you're so deeply in the problem, right? It's very hard to be open to creative solutions or new ideas when you are obsessing and ruminating around what's not going exactly as you would imagine. So with Mercury trine Uranus, be open to changes in the plan. Again, be open to spontaneity on Saturday. Be open to new conversations, new input. Stay open to new solutions. Stay open to new themes that could emerge in this filler episode before the Mercury retrograde. My biggest advice is to stay open, okay? There can be certain vibe this week around anxiety and panic and wanting to know exactly what comes next. But what's the point of watching a show if we know what exactly comes next? What's the point of fleshing out our potential if we know exactly what comes next? Stay open to connect with different sort of individuals, stay open to have random different conversations, be open to deviations in the plan, be open to new solutions, right? Sometimes when we are trying to do something over and over again, like it needs to be fixed in this way or this idea needs to work, we're blocking ourselves from really lovely pivots. And just a quick anecdote, just like from my life, is it's been really cool. Like I've launched something new this year, Magic Monthly, and like when I say every single digital planner has gotten better because people have given me feedback, it's It's like so cool. Like it started as just like a general digital astrology planner, and then Alexis was like, this would be cool if it was like customized. And I was like, oh my gosh, it would. And it's like with every single iteration, like someone was like, it would be really cool if you gave an email summary of what happens this month. And so I started integrating that. Like every little idea, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have never even thought about that. And if I was so rigid around Magic Monthly needs to look like this, I would have limited what it is blossom into and what it is continuing to blossom into, which is like a really cool space to be in, but it takes being open to deviations, right? It takes being open to the plot device, even if it's not exactly what you would want it to be, right? It takes observing and being mindful of the details and the conversations that inspire you. Like I think of really this Mercury trine Uranus and Mercury trine North Node. There's a glimmer this week. And beyond just even conversations and being like, I might work with this during Mercury retrograde, there's also a glimmer around what's inspiring us at this moment. Where are we, which direction are we motivated to go in? And following those glimmers. Again, if we blink, we could miss it. If we just shrug off those weird synchronicities or coincidences or even just conversations that we have that prompts a new interesting idea or new subjects that we feel motivated to learn about, or like a new, vlogger that you find on the internet where there's something about their journey and their story that inspires you, those are hints. Especially with the trine to Uranus and the trine to North Node, there can be a hint of the next iteration of your journey, because I think I've explained this before, but like in sacred mirrors, essentially what it is that we are drawn to and attracted to in other people is reflecting something to us, right? So I think the internet is a great example. Like you can resonate with certain creators at certain times and maybe not resonate with them at other times in your life. And that's okay, because it can be something within your journey and within your life that's needing to be reflected to in that moment. Even approaching your life and approaching this week, particularly, like there are no coincidences, right? Like when we watch a TV show, especially when one that has a lot of symbolism and deeper meaning, we're like, oh, there's no coincidence. There's a reason why that was there and that was there, right? And approaching our life like that as well. What if you approached every creator that you stumbled upon online? Like there's some reason that this TikTok or this message was meant to find me today, or every single text we get from a friend or a random billboard we see that like speaks to us. Like what if those weren't random? What if they were synchronicities just trying to bring to the surface certain energies within us? But it's so easy to brush off synchronicities. It's so easy to be like, it's just the algorithm showed me this TikTok around this subject that I've been really interested about learning more. Or it's just a coincidence that I walked by this billboard that had a message that was like exactly what I needed to read right now. Like it's just a coincidence. And you can either view your life like everything is magic, or you can view your life like nothing is magic. I prefer to be on the everything is magic side, because I think it makes me feel a lot more supported by the universe, and it makes me really tune into those glimmers of where my story is going next. So all I want to say is really Thursday to Saturday, with Mercury trining Uranus and trining the North Node, staying open to those little messages, to those little glimmers of what's inspiring you at this moment, of what's interesting you at this moment, and what you are feeling called to put some mental energy towards at this moment. And beyond that, the vibe of the morning is hike with your bae. Straight up hike with your bae, or a loved one, or do something active with someone that you adore. Maybe you have to clean out your garage and enroll your partner. You guys can both clean out the garage. Do something active that also allows you to connect, exercise with your partner, exercise with a friend, spend some time with someone doing something active, getting your blood flowing a little bit with the trine to Mars, and with the Libra moon opposing Chiron. Also just be mindful. You don't need to be what other people want you to be. Just be yourself. I know a lot of us, oftentimes it's really hard to be present when we're spending time with people, because we're like, how am I being perceived? But I just want you to be conscious on Saturday. You don't have to perform. Again, with Mercury trine Uranus, this is conversations that are unique and are individualistic and are you, right? And that happens when we take the mask down. Like that's why Uranus is the archetype of the weirdo, but also the genius, because those are one and the same. And if everybody's trying to be something that they're not, we don't create the space for us to embrace our weird, and then our whole world gets less interesting. So all I want to say, there's a lot of Chiron energy this month. And with Chiron and Aries, the story has really been the wound around the person that we are, and feeling like we need to hide or pretend to be something that we're not, and seeing if we can heal and integrate the person that we are without feeling like we have to hide our raw, messy expression. So just being conscious on Saturday around any desire to feel like you have to wear a mask or be something or project something or perform for people. Because then the Libra moon also squares off with Mercury in Capricorn. So again, this battle between I want to harmonize, I want to get along with Mercury and Capricorn around this is what needs to get fixed. It's like, I want to connect with you, but we're cleaning the garage and you're telling me I have to throw away my Beanie Babies and I don't want to, or we're on this hike and you got us lost and I want to go with the flow, but I'm kind of mad. Like with Mercury and Capricorn, we can be made aware of what needs fixed and changed without taking it personally or without feeling like we have to dote and make everything better and people please and all of these things. There's a sensitive vibe on Saturday. There's an energy where you're gonna want to make people feel better and appease and smooth things over. And while that's lovely, like the Libra moon desire to connect, make sure that you are dealing with the problem head on, if any are being brought to the surface with the Mercury Capricorn, and also make sure that you are honoring your own authenticity just with it. Squaring Chiron in Aries as well as with Mercury trine Uranus. That's where brilliance, genius, and innovation lies, is when we allow ourselves to be wholly ourselves. So just an energy to be mindful of on Saturday. Sunday morning is a really great time to attend to your responsibilities while finding the glimmer of fun and spontaneity within it, right? The Libra moon trine Saturn in Aquarius, which is grounded, which is productive. The sextile to Sun in Sagittarius is allowing us to find the fun and the humor within our day-to-day. Just be mindful with the Libra moon squaring Pluto in Capricorn that we aren't trying to control, especially trying to control other people. Doesn't work that way. The moon is void from 2:35 to 7:17 p.m., at which point the moon enters Scorpio, which plunges us deep into our emotions, deep into intensity. What a wrap up to the weekend. And all I'll say is, like, within that void moon, make sure that you don't take on the most important task of your life. And I just want to apologize if you can hear that vacuum. That's what happens when I get distracted for 3 hours in between filming, and I've also just been filming for an obscene amount of time. Guys, are these too long? You can be honest with me. I'm open to feedback. Are these too long? Do I need to trim it down? Because I have a Gemini midheaven and I honestly just be talking. So anyways, without further ado, let's take it into our Magic Monday mantra of the week. So my loves, the Magic Monday mantra of the week is I am present with this chapter of my story. This week is important to keep your eyes open. Like I said, to a surface level, I feel that a lot of people are going to navigate this week and it's just going to feel very mundane, very blah. It's not that exciting astrologically, I'll be forthright. But you all, since you watch Magic Monday, you know that this is a powerful week because we are setting the themes that we will work with in the forthcoming Mercury retrograde. And we can use that predictively by staying open to what comes to the surface, as well as co-creating with our own and putting our own energy into it around, I want to invest some energy towards this relationship. I want to invest some energy towards this project. I want to put more energy towards the big picture stuff within my business that I'm constantly pushing out. And it's important this week because there is some kind of like anxious energies around wanting to control and predict and know it all, right? And there's a confusion, there's an anxiety around not knowing what comes next, which is why it's so important, stay grounded, stay here. Don't be so concerned trying to predict the next episode that you're not even paying attention to the hints and the Easter eggs within this episode. Like, stay observant, stay mindful, but stay here, okay? Don't worry about the season finale quite yet. Just be present. Notice the themes, notice the conversations, stay open to dialing them in. So my loves, that is our week. I apologize for the vacuum at the end. Typically, I would just pause and wait for the vacuum to be over, but I honestly don't trust myself from the earlier incident where I had to change the battery and then I made a snack and then I completely forgot I was filming. Like, my love, I feel like I would never do an outro if I waited for this vacuuming to be done. Mars retrograde in Gemini has had me so distracted, so I apologize about that. Hopefully it didn't mess with your viewing and listening experience too much. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would still love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.